Hello, everybody. Today, well, in the numbers department, the economic numbers are phenomenal. We're in the final stages of Iran. We'll see what happens. We'll either have a deal or we're going to do some things that are a little bit nasty. But hopefully that won't happen. Good for you. Well, you see the numbers came out today. They're fantastic. The economic numbers are fantastic. Do you have any questions?
Yes, sir. How are you feeling after this massive defeat last night? What does it mean for the Republican Party?
Well, we had a great number of victories. It's not just Massey. Massey's the low life. We had a great number of victories. We have the governors, governorships. We won senatorships. We won everything. We won all races last night. Every one of them. We have a great candidate, I believe, in Texas. And I believe the Texas candidate, who's Ken Paxton, I think he'll win. I think probably he'll win very substantially. And I think he'll go on to defeat a very defective candidate, a candidate that believes in 6 genders. He takes hits at Jesus Christ, and he's wearing a mask 6 months ago. Anybody wearing a mask 6 months ago doesn't get it. And he's a vegan. He's a vegan in Texas. And you can't get elected as a vegan in Texas.
Lost to Senate leadership on the Republican side of the ballot, forcing against an incumbent.
I did. They'll be all right with it. They want to win. I know how to win.
Are you worried about
Some of them don't know how to win. I know how to win.
Sir,
I think I've proven that, haven't I?
are you worried about the ballroom funding, Mr. President? There's speculation
I'm
that
building the ballroom. Being built. I'm building the ballroom. So yesterday, right?
Yeah.
We're building a great ballroom. It's been needed. It's a very military complex. The roof is actually a drone port. The roof of the ballroom is a drone port, and it gives great safety to everything below. We're building a really great ballroom, but it's also a strong military position for our people. Want to go? I think they both did great. What do you want? Do you like that? That's pretty good, though, right? I think they both did good. I watched both of them. Both very good men, really are. But her husband votes against me. I don't know what's with him. You better ask her what's with him. Her husband, she's married to a certain Congress. He likes voting against Trump. You know what happens with that? It doesn't work out well. I don't know why he does.
Mr. President, on Taiwan, do you have any plans to call President Lai before you make your decision on the arms deal?
What?
Do you have any plans to call President Lai of Taiwan before you make a decision on the weapons package?
I'll speak to him. I speak to everybody. We have that situation very well in hand. We had a great meeting with President Xi. It was amazing, actually. It was amazing. Many of you were there. We'll work on that, the Taiwan problem.
What if you said the Prime Minister didn't talk about Iran and how long it will hold off?
He's fine. He'll do whatever I want him to do. He's a very, very good man. He'll do whatever I want him to do, and he's a great guy. To me, he's a great guy. Don't forget, he was a wartime prime minister. He's not treated right in Israel, in my opinion. I'm right now at 99% in Israel. I could run for prime minister. So maybe after I do this, I'll go to Israel, run for prime minister. I had a poll this morning. I'm 99%. So that's good. But no, he's a wartime prime minister. I just don't think they treat him well.
Mr. President, what do you think of Spencer
I think they have a president over there that treats him very poorly.
You're on the same page with Iran.
Yeah.
Mr. President,
If somebody comes along, I'd look. It's a little late in the race, but if somebody comes along, I'd look.
Mr. President, what do you think of Spencer Pratt? Do you see yourself in him at all, a former reality TV star?
No, I'd like to see him do well. He's the character. I don't know. I assume he probably supports me. Does he support me?
So?
I think so, yeah. I heard he does. I heard he's a big MAGA person. He's doing well. I don't know. You have a rigged vote out there. That's the problem. The votes are rigged. You have a really rigged vote in California. You have all the mail-in ballots, everything else. It's very hard to win because the elections are very dishonest. If we had Jesus Christ come down and count the votes, I would have won California. I do great with Hispanics. But it's a rigged vote. They send out 38 million votes. Nobody knows where they're going. Of course, the Democrats. Disproportionately, Democrats get many more votes. Some get 8 votes. They get 8 cards. And Republicans have to call in, where's my card? It's a rigged system. One of the most, not the worst, I'll give you a list. Maybe I'll do my list. But it's California's one of the most dishonest states for one.
What can we do for the cadets today?
Just enjoy your life. Enjoy it. They're great guys. My second time at the Coast Guard Academy. They're great guys. We like them. You don't realize how important Coast Guard is until you have a hurricane. I remember the big hurricane in Texas where these kids go on boats and they're going to the waves that are 20 times higher than the boat. And I say, can they really make it? I'm watching this. Say they find a way, but they were going into waves, these massive waves, to save people that were inside. You don't realize it, but boy, they are good. They are good seamen. They are unbelievable. I wouldn't want to do it.
Mr.
I'm a
President,
very brave person, but I would.
you make the meeting.
Well, he told me he was going to. I think it's good. I get along with both of them. But I think it's good. I don't know if the ceremony is quite as brilliant as mine. I watched. I think we topped them. Good team. But no, I get along with Putin. I get along with everybody but your husband and a few others.
It's a limited deal that just caught the Strait of Hormuz.
What does that mean?
It's a limited deal just for Malta ceasefire.
We have to open the strait. Don't open immediately. So we're going to give this one shot. I'm in no hurry. You're not going to go to the midterms. I'm in no hurry. Ideally, I'd like to see few people killed as opposed to a lot. We can do it either way, but I'd like to see few people killed. I just wonder whether or not they have the good of the people, because some of the things they're doing to me means they don't have the good of the people, and they have to have the good of the people. There's a lot of anger now around because people are living so badly. There's a lot of foment that we haven't seen before so much. We'll see what happens.
Mr. President, over the weekend,
No, but let's put it this way. You were in Vietnam 19 years. You were in Afghanistan, these other places, 10 years. You were in Iraq. How long were you in Iraq? 12 years. You were in Korea for 7 years. World War II is different. That was 4 years. I'm in for 3 months. And much of it's been ceasefire. So, and you know what? We lost hundreds of thousands of soldiers in these various wars. In 2 wars, Venezuela, where we lost nobody, and here we lost 13 people. Now, 13 people is 13 too much, but we lost 13 people. In other wars, you lost hundreds of thousands of people. So people don't like it when you say, oh, do you know you've lost 13? We lost in 2 major wars. We took over Venezuela. We essentially took over Iran. And we've lost so far 13 people. Somebody else would have lost 100,000 people. But I get a kick when I look at somebody on television. He's lost 13 people. I lost 13 people. They lost 13 people leaving an airport. Obama, 13 very good people that I got to know their families. So what we've done is amazing, and we have them decimated. Iran is decimated, and I mean, you're going to see things that are amazing. You're going to see a lot of amazing things over the next 3 years for our country. And I'd like to talk more about the economic, because we have $18 trillion being spent, and no country's ever had anything like that. We have car plants pouring in from Mexico, Canada. They don't want to be there. There's no reason to be there, because they want to sell our market. We have car companies and plants coming in.
Assalamu alaikum. Daniel Matthews here. I hope you're having a fantastic evening. This is, what did I call it? What's the beat? Yeah, what's the beat? That's what we're calling this bad boy. And this bad boy is all about analyzing international news. Look at the time. It's not the time for South African news. It's not the time for SABC. It's not the time for EWN. And of course, I'm doing this all in my own capacity. This is not something Daniel Matthews is partnering with anybody. However, if you want to partner, I mean, I'm not going to say no. But I am going to say is, shukran for being here. I am not partnered with anyone, by the way, on a more serious note. I'm not partnered with anyone while I'm here. This is all I'm doing by my own volition, by my own accord, and by my own person. Everything I say here is held accountable by me, not by any organization, because I'm not working for any organization while I'm doing this. I will maybe be partnering in the future, but right now, as we stand, the boy's not doing it like that. What you heard there was the words of US President Donald Trump. Now, what's happening here is what's the beat is a platform for me to basically just go over international news. What is happening internationally, we'll have a discussion on it. What's happening here, then everywhere, we'll have a discussion on that. And it's going to be something we're going to do possibly every single day. Even if we do not do it every single day, then we'll have a post up for why we're not doing it for that day or something to that accord. Maybe not that more serious. That's a little bit too serious for me. I mean, that's a lot of effort. That's a lot of work. I'm not saying I'm lazy. I'm just saying, like, damn, that's a lot. But anyway, the platform is going to kick off talking about Donald Trump. And what a way to kick it off with his least recent words. I think outside, I don't know whether he was saying that. He said that today, though. He said that today. I think it was outside Camp May. It was his words regarding the Iran war. And it's very interesting to see what he said there. Now, what he said, and while I'm cleaning my glass, I'll just speak a little bit here. What he said was, he's in no hurry. The man has no desire to go anywhere. He is way too comfortable in the Persian Gulf. I mean, the brother loves Iran. I mean, he's out there enjoying it all. Nowruz, he was there for that. Ramadan, he was there for that too. Heck, maybe he'll be there for the next Nowruz too. Who knows with a man like this in charge, right? And the reason I'm saying who knows with a man like this in charge is because this is not the rhetoric that has been made by the Trump administration since the 28th of February, since this whole thing began. Don't believe me? Let's go and check the notes. Now, I want you to be well aware of the reality of what we are saying right now. And I'm going to play a couple of songs for this because, to be frank with you, if you don't feel the beat inside, like I thought about it, right? What's the beat? Can you feel the beat? By Lisa. I mean, come on. It's like delivered. It's like delivered. You know what I mean? But anyway, I'm going to play that song like right now. Let me see. Wait. Hey, there we go. Okay, now it's not that loud. It's actually quite soft on your end. Let me see if I can make it turn up. Can I turn it up? I'm having a bit of difficulty. I can't actually fix this problem. I can't fix this problem. I just don't really know if I want to fix this problem right now. Is it something that I want to fix right now? Not necessarily. Yeah, I do want to fix it. There we go. There you go. Can you feel the beat? It's going to be a little background track. I'm going to play it for a little bit of the. I want you to reflect on what Trump said. I want you to think about what this man was talking about right there. They are on their own timeline. They are doing it their way. But what do we know? We know the cost. We have access to the cost. We have access to things that Mr. Trump thinks that we do not have access to. And I'm going to play the track a little bit lower now because you need to hear and you have to feel exactly what am I talking about. Let's go to exactly the man who has supposedly the plan, Mr. Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War of the United States of America. Let's go to his words. Now, this was said on the 10th. When was this said? Because this is really juicy. He said this bad boy on the 13th. Great. So I want you can follow along with me. I want everybody to understand that when it comes to the matter of the Iran war, when it comes to the matter of international politics as a whole, it is a different gravy, a different kind of sauce. But at the same time, it's like the French sauces. There are 4 of them, and those 4 or 5 bad boys are the crew or the crux of every single dish in French cuisine. You know those 5, you know everything, you know the basics of everything. What I'm trying to say is if you know where to look, you can verify everything. This is the transcript from the U.S. press, the U.S. Secretary of War, Mr. Pete Hegseth himself, the former news anchor. He says, as President Trump declared yesterday, this is on March 10th, we're crushing the enemy in an overwhelming display of technical skill and military force. We will not relent until the enemy is totally and decisively defeated, but we do so in our timeline and at our choosing. What does he mean by that? Anyway, he says, following in another word in terms of timelines, he says, instead we're winning decisively. He says here, you see, this is not 2003. This is not endless nation building under those types of quagmires we saw under Bush or Obama. It's not even close. Our generation of soldier will not let that happen again, and nor will this president, who very clearly ran against those kind of never-ending, nebulously scoped missions. Those days are dead. He just gives us the juice. He doesn't stop. He doesn't stop with the juice. He always has the sauce. I mean, what is he talking about here? Let's just, before we get into the process of analyzing exactly what is he saying, let's try to decipher this at our own speed, right? Let's try to picture this like Arsenal on a 4-year track record of being losers, or 3-year track record of being losers, and on the 4th year getting something. So now they have to keep Mikel Arteta. Let's think about it in that timeline. He says, instead we're winning decisively with brutal efficiency, total air dominance, and an unbreakable will to accomplish the president's objectives on our timeline. We stay locked on the target because here at the Department of War, that's our job. Interesting. What does he say 3 days later? 3 days later, Mr. Exit is back with timelines. Oh, yes, he's like, Betty. Oh, Betty, what timeline are we in? Well, ask Pete Hegseth. He's like CW. He got all the timelines for you. He says here, so that hasn't changed. This is something in regards to missile launches and the capacity of the defense. You can see here. The question is, how do you define success as of today? Yeah, I mean, like we define success again, 12 days in, 13 days in, by reaching the military objectives that we've laid out. Launches, missile launches, defense industrial base, their navy, their ability to project power on the naval scene, leading toward denying them to get a nuclear weapon. Huh. Big talk. Why is he there? And we've got internal metrics that look at that, what we represent to the president, and who then can decide how long he'd like to continue in pursuit of those military objectives. I'm sorry, American English is a little bit different for me. Now, some people like Daniel, there's no difference here between this English and our English. You're probably right. I'm going to stop the music for now because we are now going to get to a point of analysis. And I'm going to do this analysis right now. And before I do the analysis, I just need you guys to just understand what we have been listening to, right? I'm going to disappear for just 5 seconds. Let's just ponder what we've heard from the U.S. Secretary of War. He has been talking about timelines. He's been saying that this is not like the things of the past. It's not like the behaviors of the past. You see that on March 10th, we have our little notebook up here. Let's get that notebook up. Notes. March 10th. Secretary of War. Pete Hegseth. Talks about let me just tab this. Talks about no real timeline. I mean, he didn't really give us a date, so there's no real timeline to this. I mean, who knows? Timeline, what's that? No real timeline, right? But they do have their own timeline. Interesting. He doesn't say when the timeline is, but he does. Notice what he says. He says we accomplish our objectives at our timeline. It's up to the president to decide. Okay, cool. So what we also now know from the video that we just listened to, from the president today, U.S. President Donald Trump. He said, "No hurry." What does this mean? I'm gonna leave you with that while I just have a breather because I've been talking a lot, and this is a little bit different to talking on radio. Yeah, that is 100% certain. Just let me see if I can. There I am. And we have returned. A bit of a breather, a bit of a little bit of a time skip there. A time skip for a timeline. What exactly does this man mean by timeline? Has anybody figured it out yet? If you have, tell me in the comments. I'd like to know. Genuinely. If somebody knows exactly what this ethereal truth is, they need to tell me. They need to give me the wisdom because I'm always trying to understand what is the wisdom of what I'm watching? What is the wisdom of what is going on here? Let us go back to the review. Now, he says here, but also recognizing this country is conditioned to previous leaders, whether it's George W. Bush or Barack Obama or Joe Biden, where these expansive nebulous missions sets that kept changing all the time, and so the timeline kept moving, and we kept pouring more troops in and on the ground. That's interesting. What does the word nebulous mean? He's used it now twice. What does the word nebulous mean? Nebulous is an adjective that describes something hazy, vague, or lacking a clear, definite shape. What a word to use there, Mr. Exif. And that is a nebulous, a multi-syllabic word. I'm impressed. The issue though is, does this actually make sense? The president of the United States is saying that he does not care for when they leave. He is not in a hurry. He's pointed to previous wars in actual fact and said that they were that long. Why does he need to shift really? And why is 3 months so long in comparison to the multi-year wars that were fought by the Americans in the past? And I mean, from a perspective or like that, it's not really making a lot of nonsense. It's kind of making a lot of sense. But on the other end of the spectrum, if you were to get into the analysis of this, what does it mean now in terms of no hurry, comparing that to the words of Pete Hegseth? I must also admit, this is not also only the words of Pete Hegseth. In actual fact, Chris Wright, let's actually play this video. Chris Wright, NBC timelines, March. He says this sometime in March. I don't know if I think it's this one, the March. Just hold on. Let me see if I can get this transcript right. Yeah. So I need to see here is 6. Yeah, there you go. 1 minute 50. You can watch it for yourself. Let's go. Let's listen to the question. And let's go to the full screen of this whole bad boy. And make this. Let's just listen. I'm gonna take myself away because I'm gonna need it for this. Again, I'm gonna take another breather because it's a little bit of a different experience for me, but just listen. There by this woman's face, and I'm gonna go back to me being back on screen because I think now it's time again to speak and have a little bit of a conversation in terms of what we just now figured out. we just have figured out that the words of the United States president contradict the words of his two secretaries just before or during the war. This was said on March 15th. I just gave you excerpts from Pete Hegseth on March 10th and March 13th. Now, we do know, of course, that American media is never going to be questioning him on the fact that two of his Secretary of States have conditionally, they have I think retroactively, no, not retroactively, historically contradicted what his present words. And we also know that Caroline Leavitt, who I think is giving birth right now, so shout out to her. She also said that 4 to 6 weeks was the timeline, and that was about 3 to 4 weeks ago. Yeah, I can actually show you that. If you go to a little page I like to call Wrap It Up, you can actually see all of this happening. You can actually see all of this happening. I wonder if I can even show Facebook. Wrap It Up. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna see now if I can show you the Wrap It Up page, because the Wrap It Up page is kind of where I get all of my Iran war news, and I'm hoping that some things work out there. Anyway, yeah. Okay. So this is the Iran war, right? This is a page dedicated to Iran war and discussing it. Now, if we go to the reels here, and then we go all the way down, right? Just hold on. We're gonna find it now. Caroline did say this, and she did here. No, even on. This is the wrong video. I need to find the video now, because there was a video where she maintained the aspect of 4 to 6 weeks. Yep. Yeah. This is what she said. Yep. She said this literally on the 30th of March. So 10, 13, 15, 30. 4 instances within 1 month where we saw 3 different heads of administrative bodies within the Trump administration say the same thing, that it's going to take 4 to 6 weeks. Now the man's saying he's in no hurry. So the question is, when will this end? He's saying that the midterms don't scare. A lot of people thought that the midterms would scare, because going into war like this, into the midterms, could potentially hinder his success rate there. But he says he's not concerned about it. So what is he now? Big questions, and we're gonna have to wait and see in terms of how that all goes down. We're gonna go back. We're gonna go back to going for another extended break. This time, primarily because I need to get more things in order, because this is taking a little bit more than what I thought it would. But I want to now get into a different story, and this is going to be more so Mark Rutte. And it's going to be Mark Rutte as well as Mark Rutte and JD Vance. So I'm gonna try to get these both are working for you. I'm gonna see if I can get them to work. If I can, then that will be fantastic. So yeah, cool. There we go. I'll be back shortly. But for now, enjoy. Okay, so we are back. We are back with another. Well, we're trying again. So you didn't hear that because the stream wasn't working properly there. So I apologize for that. We're gonna go back to our browser so you can see exactly where we are right now. Apologies for that. There we are. Back onto the browser. I'm gonna delete certain things now. Like I'm gonna delete most of this here. Now, what you didn't hear from PDXD, I'm gonna play again because it needs to be played so that you can have an understanding of where we are right now. So if we hear not PDXD from JD Vance, so White House. So we go to White House. White House. Yep, JD Vance. Okay. Before we start speaking, go to the transcript. I'm gonna go to Iran. He speaks a lot about a lot of things. So we can go to Iran. Yeah. I want you to listen to him fully. I'm gonna take myself away again, but this time because we didn't listen to him before, so we need to listen to him properly right now. Let's have a listen to Vice President of the United States, JD Vance. Let's have a listen to him right now.
Just to give an update on the Iran negotiation, the Iran situation, I just talked to the president very briefly before I came out here. It's actually a very simple proposition here. There are two options, two pathways we can go down when it comes to the Iran situation. So step back for a little bit. What the President of the United States has said is, number one, Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. And I think it's important for the American people and all of you to appreciate that when we say that, it's not just that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, it's what would happen if the Iranians did get a nuclear weapon. We know that a lot of nations all across the Gulf would then want their own nuclear weapon, and then a lot of nations all across the world. And what has been a very effective bright spot of American foreign policy really for the last 20 or so years would disappear overnight. If you have every country in the world scrambling to try to get a nuclear weapon, it would make us all much less safe. And Iran would really be the first domino and what would set off a nuclear arms race all over the world. That's very, very bad for the safety of our country. As the father of 3 young kids, I don't want them to inherit a world where 20 additional regimes, half of them very dangerous and very sympathetic to terrorists, have nuclear weapons. We want to keep the number of countries that have nuclear weapons small, and that's why Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, on top of all the other things that we might be worried about, that they themselves could use it, that they could use it in leverage and economic control or economic negotiations. We just don't want them to have a nuclear weapon. Now, what we did here is that we effectively degraded their conventional military capability. That has been done. That has been successfully done. You could always do a little bit more, but where we are now is the president has asked us, has told us to aggressively negotiate with the Iranians. Why did I go to Islamabad, Pakistan? Why did I spend, I think, probably 22 hours on a plane going there, 24 hours coming back, and then 21 hours on the ground negotiating with the Iranians? Is because we wanted to show a sign of good faith. The Vice President of the United States is willing to cut a deal so long as the Iranians are willing to meet us again on that core issue of never having a nuclear weapon. We think that we've made a lot of progress. We think the Iranians want to make a deal. The President of the United States has asked us to negotiate in good faith, and that's exactly what we've done. So we're in a pretty good spot here, but there's an option B. And the option B is that we could restart the military campaign to continue to prosecute the case, to continue to try to achieve America's objectives. And we could talk a little bit about what that looks like, but that's not what the president wants, and I don't think it's what the Iranians want either. We have an opportunity here, I think, to reset the relationship that has existed between Iran and the United States for 47 years. That's what the president has asked us to do, and that's what we're going to keep on working at. But it takes two to tango. We are not going to have a deal that allows the Iranians to have a nuclear weapon. So as the president just told me, we're locked and loaded. We don't want to go down that pathway, but the president is willing and able to go down that pathway if we have to. So with that, I will say thank you all. It's cool to be here. I'm going to give a
We're gonna leave it there with Mr. Vance. We're gonna go back from Mr. Vance.
shout out,
We're
of
gonna go
course,
back
to the
actually
person I am
somebody
replacing.
else who I wanted to also listen to, and that person actually is Mark Rutte. Now, I actually have Mark Rutte's own words, but I can't actually play it right now. So let's play Mark Rutte. There's a video he played. Reuters. There's a video they streamed today. Subscribe to them, just cause. Let me see. Was it not here? Let me see. Okay, I don't know where it is. So he didn't actually speak. Yeah. But he did he spoke in Sweden today. Yeah. First post Guardian News.
will meet in Helsingborg.
Guardian News because they have transcripts. And they have Iran. I want you to listen to it. Around 6 minute mark. Yeah. Just yeah. I want you to listen to from the 5 minute mark. Have a listen to Mr. Rutte and what he says.
And ensure that Allied support remains sustainable for the long term. We continue to see the impacts of the war Russia is waging against Ukraine. Just yesterday, as part of NATO's Baltic air policing, Romanian F-16s downed a drone over Estonia. This was a Ukrainian drone, but it wouldn't have been there but for Russia's aggression. The key is that NATO's air defenses were effective, yet again, and we will continue to improve our capacity to address any threat to our territory or to our people. Ministers in Sweden will exchange views on key developments affecting Allied security, including in the Middle East. As I reflect on current developments, I see two distinct situations, both of which carry significant implications for our security. On one hand, there is the United States' effort to ensure Iran doesn't obtain nuclear weapons. And a nuclear Iran is an outcome the NATO alliance and the broader international community has long deemed unacceptable. On the other, Iran is trying to hold the global economy hostage by closing a vital waterway on which much of the world depends, especially many NATO allies and partners. This is a direct assault on freedom of navigation and global commerce. Importantly, we are now seeing many countries coming together around plans to ensure freedom of navigation. Some are moving assets to the region, including France, Belgium, the Netherlands, Italy, Germany, the United Kingdom, and others. And this preparation is key to ensure that the strait can be open for transit. And as we discuss the current situation, we will also discuss how to further strengthen cooperation with NATO's partners in the Gulf region. So, our meeting in Helsingborg will have a broad agenda. But the central theme is clear. The central theme is delivery. Delivery of our deterrence and defense, of a stronger, fairer NATO, delivery of our support for Ukraine, and ultimately of the security of 1 billion people across the alliance. And with that, I'm as always ready to take your questions.
Okay, let's.
I had to come in with music. I couldn't come in raw. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. After listening to Mark Rutte and listening to JD Vance, if you asked me to come in here just like it was a normal situation, I mean, I don't know what you were expecting, but if you were expecting that, well, you expected wrong. I'm gonna keep playing Judith Sayegh because I like Judith Sayegh and I'm gonna play in the background. And she's gonna be a little bit of a smoothing for our evening this tonight. And I'm actually gonna turn it down. I play something a little bit more slow paced. There's a song that I added recently, Uda, yeah. Uda. This is a very interesting song. It has a mix of Mexican, but also has a mix of like traditional. It's kind of interesting. I like this song. Definitely listen to it as a little background track for us. I want us to understand that we just listened to Mark Rutte, the Secretary General of the NATO, and the Vice President of the United States, and both of these individuals further the idea that Iran, in some respect, is looking towards having nuclear power, and that nuclear power narrative. We know now that there's a narrative nuclear power. So we're gonna work backwards here. We're gonna decipher exactly what's going on. We're gonna try to decipher it the best way we can, which is through evaluation. So we know now that one narrative now is nuclear power, and I've just now explained to you that from the perspective of Chris Wright and from Pete Exit, they have dismantled a lot of Iran's capacity, and from the US president himself, he routinely utilizes the word obliterate as an adjective to describe the present situation of Iran in terms of their military capacity. And even in this situation, they are so relentless in saying that they're going to pursue that Iran is wrong and all these other things. And it's hard to get to that kind of conclusion when you hear the rhetoric that's coming out of America. And I just gave you a little taste of what has been said. So I wanted to also show you something. They said earlier that they're moving assets. Now I want to show you two things. I want to show you, number one is going to be Georgia Maloney, who spoke about this very matter. So Georgia Maloney here said the following. Just have a listen.
Voglio essere chiara perché mi pare che insomma ci siano state delle interpretazioni un po' forzate, nessuno pensa ovviamente a una missione militare per forzare il blocco nello stretto di Hormuz. Quello su cui ci interroghiamo è quando dovessero esserci le condizioni, ma ragionevolmente in una fase post-conflitto, come possiamo offrire il contributo, chiaramente d'accordo con le parti, per difendere la libertà di navigazione. Dopodiché c'è ovviamente un impatto possibile.
I'm deeply concerned about So the leaders in the European Union have been very clear that when the hostilities end, they could envisage an operation, a mission. But of course, it is not for me to judge on their decision to provide the necessary capabilities in the Strait of Hormuz.
Let's
from European bases, basically in support of well, let me first acknowledge
ready to consider further involvement under a NATO flag and in the Strait of Hormuz. General Hello and Polashano from Bloomberg News. I want to ask you about the situation in the Middle East. You mentioned that a lot of allies have joint interests in the Strait of Hormuz. At which point and under which conditions would NATO be ready to consider further involvement under a NATO flag? And what could that look like and what's the timeline? Thank you.
Well, let me first acknowledge the fact that European and Canadian airlines have heard the US call for action. We have basically seen, not basically, we have seen from day one. Thousands of flights taking off from European bases basically in support of US operations, and this was all aligned and in line with bilateral commitments. And this is all over Europe. It's massive. It's restocking. It is refueling, etc. And then to your question, when it comes to the Strait, you now see allies increasingly reacting to the call for action, hearing the call for action when it comes to pre-positioning crucial assets close.
Listen to what he's saying. And listen to what he's not saying. Hear the emptiness of his words. He's saying they're repositioning assets, all this and that, but are they going to be in the Strait of Hormuz? Are they going to assist through the blockade? Are the words of Giorgia Meloni and Ursula von der Leyen now basically retroactively null and void? That's it.
To theater. And of course, this alliance always has debates and discussions going on how we can, yes or no, have a potential contribution, whatever, as NATO to whatever is happening. Also, in my mind, these are informal discussions. But hey, the situation is dynamic. The situation is continuing to develop, and we are continuing to monitor.
Okay.
What did that guy just say? What? What did he just say? Oh man, we need to be very honest and open with ourselves. What is that guy talking about? Repositioning assets. I want to just get into what he said there. He said something here. Let's just go to the transcript. Where are we right now? Here. 8:06. Right? Yeah. Yeah. They first, let me acknowledge the fact that European and Canadian airlines have heard the US call for action. We have basically seen, we have seen from day one, from day one, thousands of flights taking off from European bases, basically in support of US operations. This was all aligned and in line with bilateral commitments, and this is all over Europe. It's massive. It's restocking. It is refueling. And then to your question, when it comes to the Strait, you now see allies increasingly reacting to the call for action. Reacting. What does that mean? That was a reaction to something in my throat. Is it something worth reporting? No. But is it something that is technically true? Yes. They're lying. Let's go continue. And then to your question, Apologies for the cough, people. And then to your question, when it comes to this threat, you now see allies increasingly reacting to the call for action, hearing the call for action when it comes to pre-positioning crucial assets close to the theater. And of course, this alliance always has debates and discussions going on. Yes, we can, how we can, yes or no, have a potential contribution or whatever NATO to whatever is happening. Also, in my mind, these are informal discussions. So they're not even formal, brother. They're not even formal, and you're going on like this. Are you serious? Are we smoking something today? Are we on some kush? Are we on some good things? What are we on? What are we drinking? What are we consuming? How do I get in? How do I get a hold of it? Is it halal? Can I get a halal option? Will it give me the same effects? I need to know. Can a sheikh assist me? What's going on? Mr. Rutte, what are you saying? It's not computing. Nothing's gonna happen. There's gonna be no movement. Donald Trump is saying that he's in no hurry, but at the same time he's saying this is the final push for negotiations. I haven't seen a word or a lick of negotiation talk from the Iranians. They have talked about the negotiations, but negotiations, by the way, that's another topic. The issue of negotiations. You know what? Let's get a little picture up for this. Let's go. Let's go to pixels. Let's go to pixels. Let's see free negotiation pictures. Let's see. Yeah. I think what are we gonna use? Yeah. Let's go with this one. Let's go with this one. Let's go with this one. This is gonna be a little picture for this. Give me the full thing, please. Thank you. Let's go to this picture over here. I'm going to describe something just if you're listening only through audio. But in this picture, we have a man receiving the documents, looking like a lawyer, from a woman with a scorned face, with a man with a worried face who's right next to her. We're assuming that the man with the worried face is married. The man who is receiving the papers is a lawyer, and the woman with the scorned face is the wife. And maybe these are divorce papers. Who knows? But what we do know is, what are we noticing about this situation? For 5 marks. Any insight? Anything? I got you. They basically are sitting at the table and talking. Without the talking, how do you get to that point? How? Sway, how? How? How do you get to that point? Apologies again. Now, some people are saying, what are the points of negotiation? The points of negotiation, the second point is nuclear. Now, the thing for when it comes to nuclear is that nuclear actually is something that the Iranians have been open to doing for quite some time. If you go to Google Muhammad Islami sanctions, he said something in regards to sanctions here. Yeah, 9th of February, Andalo Agency, France 24. Doesn't matter who you go to. All of them are saying the same thing. And that is Iran is ready to dilute its enriched uranium if all sanctions are lifted. I also saw this by Middle East Monitor, by the way. These are European sources, by the way. NATO allies like Andalo here is basically for Iran, for Turkey. Are we being for real? They were open to dilution, and you didn't want dilution. That's because the Americans want some very specific things. They don't only want dilution. They want dilution, and they want the material to be removed. The material that they call dust now because of Operation Midnight Hammer last year. We are in a very, very tricky point here in terms of negotiations. I'll try to bring you the latest as they come through, but for now, I have to wrap it all up right now. What's the beat? The beat tonight was negotiations. This has all been about negotiations. Everything has been in regards to negotiations from the very first video we played. Now, what was that video? I'm going to play it for you again. One more time. One more time. I'm going to play you the video just so that you can hear what the man said. And then I'm going to go and have a send off to you all. But just for one more time, Mr. Donald Trump's words. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'm only going to play aspects of it. Because the whole thing isn't that necessary right now. So we go to White House. We go to White House, go to videos. We go here.
Hello, everybody. We're going to trip today. We're doing very well in the numbers department. The
Yeah, well, listen to-
numbers are phenomenal.
But not the whole thing.
Final
Hold on.
stages of Iran. We'll see what happens.
Not the whole thing. Not the whole thing. Yeah, final stage of Iran. Yeah, and at 6 minute mark. But let's have a listen to Donald Trump. He's 10 minutes long. I think it's a good way to end of the whole program. So for now, let's just leave it here. I'll come back when it's over.
We're in the final stages of Iran. We'll see what happens. We'll either have a deal or we're going to do some things that are a little bit nasty. But hopefully that won't happen. The country's doing well. You see the numbers came out today. They're fantastic. The economic numbers are fantastic. So, do you have any questions?
Yes, sir. How are you feeling after this massive defeat last night? What does it mean for the Republican Party?
Well, we had a great number of victories, not just Massey. Massey's the low life. We had a great number of victories. We have the governors, the governorships. We won senatorships. We won everything. We won all races last night, every one of them. We have a great candidate, I believe, in Texas. And I believe the Texas candidate, who's Ken Paxton, I think he'll win. I think probably he'll win very substantially. And I think he'll go on to defeat a very defective candidate, a candidate that believes in 6 genders, and he takes hits at Jesus Christ, and he's wearing a mask 6 months ago. Anybody wearing a mask 6 months ago doesn't get it. And he's a vegan. He's a vegan in Texas, and you can't get elected as a vegan in Texas.
Sir. Senate leadership on the Republican side about endorsing against an incumbent.
I did. They'll be all right with it. They want to win. I know how to win.
Are you worried about
Sir,
ballroom
Some of
funding,
them
Mr.
don't know
President?
how to win. I know how to win.
Sir,
I think I've proven that, haven't I?
Are you worried about the ballroom funding, Mr. President? There's
No,
speculation
I'm
that
building.
could
The ballroom's being built. I'm building the ballroom. You saw it yesterday, right?
Yeah.
We're building a great ballroom. It's been needed. It's a very military complex. The roof is actually a drone port. The roof of the ballroom is a drone port, and it gives great safety to everything below. We're building a really great ballroom, but it's also a strong military position for our people.
Do you think Vance will get better in the press briefing?
You want to think who?
Vance or Rubio get better in the press briefing?
I think they both did great. What do you want me to say? I think they both. Do you like that? That's pretty good though, right? I think they both did good. I watched both of them. Both very good men. Really are. But her husband votes against me all the time. I don't know what's with him. You better ask him what's with him. Her husband, she's married to a certain congressman. He likes voting against Trump. You know what happens with that? It doesn't work out well. I don't know why he does.
Mr.
Sir,
President, are
on
you gonna-
Taiwan, do you have any plans to call President Lai before you make your decision on the arms deal?
What?
Do you have any plans to call President Lai of Taiwan before you make a decision on the weapons package?
Well, I'll speak to him. I speak to everybody. We have that situation very well in hand. We had a great meeting with President Xi. It was amazing, actually. It was amazing. Many of you were there. We'll work on the Taiwan problem.
What did you say to Prime Minister Netanyahu about Iran and how long the Iran was
He's fine. He'll do whatever I want him to do. He's a very, very good man. He'll do whatever I want him to do, and he's a great guy. To me, he's a great guy. Don't forget, he was a wartime prime minister, and he's not treated right in Israel, in my opinion. I'm right now at 99% in Israel. I could run for prime minister, so maybe after I do this, I'll go to Israel, run for prime minister. I had a poll this morning. I'm 99%. So that's good. But no, he's a wartime prime minister. And I just don't think they treat him well.
Mr. President, what do you think of Spencer
I think they
Pratt?
have a president over there that treats him very poorly.
If you're on the same page with him on Iran,
Mr. President,
Anyone about replacing work?
Oh, if somebody comes along, I'd look. It's a little late in the race, but if somebody comes along, I'd look.
Mr. President, what do you think of Spencer Pratt? Do you see yourself in him at all? A former reality TV star?
No, I'd like to see him do well. He's a character. I don't know. I assume he probably supports me. Does he support me?
So?
I think so, yeah. I heard he does. I heard he's a big MAGA person. He's doing well. I don't know. You have a rigged vote out there. That's the problem. The votes are rigged. You have a really rigged vote in California. You have all the mail-in ballots, everything else. It's very hard to win because the elections are very dishonest. If we had Jesus Christ come down and count the votes, I would have won California because I do great with Hispanics. But it's a rigged vote. They send out 38 million votes. Nobody knows where they're going. Of course, the Democrats say this. Disproportionately, Democrats get many more votes. Some get 8 votes. They get 8 cards, and Republicans have to call in, where's my card? It's a rigged system. One of the most, not the worst, I'll give you a list. Maybe I'll do my list. But California's one of the most dishonest states for voting.
What's your message to the cadets today?
Just enjoy your life, you know. Enjoy it. They're great guys. It's my second time at the Coast Guard Academy. They're great guys. We like them. You know, you don't realize how important Coast Guard is until you have a hurricane. And I remember the big hurricane in Texas where these kids go on boats and they go into waves that are 20 times higher than the boat. And I say, can they really make it? I'm watching this. And they say they find a way, but they were going into waves, these massive waves, to save people that were inside. And you don't realize it, but boy, they are good. They are good seamen. They are unbelievable. I wouldn't want to do it.
Mr. President,
I'm a very brave person, but I wouldn't want to. Well, he told me he was going to. I think it's good. I get along with both of them. But I think it's good. I don't know if the ceremony is quite as brilliant as mine. I watched. I think we topped them. I think we topped them. Good team. But no, I get along with Putin. I get along with everybody, but your husband and a few others.
Open to a limited deal that just come at the Strait of Hormuz.
What does that mean?
It's a limited deal just for a longer ceasefire.
We'd have to open the strait. That would open immediately. So we're going to give this one shot. I'm in no hurry. You're not going to think, oh, the midterms, I'm in a hurry. I'm in no hurry. Ideally, I'd like to see few people killed as opposed to a lot. We can do it either way, but I'd like to see few people killed. I just wonder whether or not they have the good of the people, because some of the things they're doing to me means they don't have the good of the people, and they have to have the good of the people. There's a lot of anger now in Iran because people are living so badly. There's a lot of foment that we haven't seen before so much. And we'll see what happens.
Mr. President, over the weekend.
No. Well, let's put it this way. You were in Vietnam 19 years. Right? You were in Afghanistan, these other places, 10 years. You were in Iraq. How long were you in Iraq? 12 years. You were in Korea for 7 years. World War II is different. That was 4 years. I'm in for 3 months. And much of it's been ceasefire. So, and you know what? We lost hundreds of thousands of soldiers in these various wars. In 2 wars, Venezuela, where we lost nobody, and here, we lost 13 people. Now, 13 people is 13 too much, but we lost 13 people. In other wars, you lost hundreds of thousands of people. So, people don't like it when you say, oh, do you know you've lost 13? We've lost in 2 major wars. We took over Venezuela. We essentially took over Iran, and we've lost so far 13 people. Somebody else would have lost 100,000 people. Okay. But I get a kick when I look at somebody on television. He's lost 13 people. I lost 13 people. They lost 13 people leaving an airport. Obama, 13 very good people that I got to know their families. So what we've done is amazing, and we have them decimated. Iran is decimated, and I mean, you're going to see things that are amazing. You're going to see a lot of amazing things over the next 3 years for our country. And I'd like to talk more about the economics, because we have $18 trillion being spent, and no country's ever had anything like that. We have car plants pouring in from Mexico, Canada. They don't want to be there. There's no reason to be there, because they want to sell our market. We have car companies and plants coming in from Germany, from South Korea, from Japan, coming in by the billions. And they're being built now. You're going to see things that
I think on that note,
nobody thought.
I'm gonna leave it there. It's been wonderful being in all of your company this evening. I don't know who I was in with company with, but it was wonderful being with you. It's gonna be a lot to speak about tomorrow if we evaluate more. There'll be more to evaluate, not always gonna be Iran, but Iran's one of my focus points. But yeah, enjoy the rest of the evening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Car plants pouring in from Mexico, Canada. They don't want to be there. There's no reason to be there because they want to sell our market. We have car companies.
My bad.
Plants coming in from Germany.